We have a request for side control attacks. There's a lot of different things we're going to do. We're going to probably speed through some of them, and then we can go more in depth, but at least you have a reference point to go with this. So, hip line, shoulder line, neck line. When I'm on top, my primary goal is to block the near hip. Conversely, now when I start playing the diagonals, near hip, far shoulder. So if I am on this side, I want to block this near hip. I want to have some kind of control working around to far shoulder. I can divide this into more angles, but that's for another time. That being said, I can have both knees in or both knees out. I can have one leg in, one leg out. I can switch. Doesn't matter. What I need to be aware of is how far my near leg drifts back. If I get, and depending, you're going to have highly flexible people, but the general rule of thumb is if my kind of knee line and between my knee line and my ankle gets closer to his own knee line, it makes it easier for him to just take that leg over and start to regard. Okay, that's bad for me. Okay, if he frames against me and pushes me this way, it only makes it easier for him to start throwing me up for bad stuff. Okay, so that being said, being aware of what's going on with my knee line and also what I'm doing with his hip line is going to be important, okay? Side control, the key word to this is control, not submission. It's his job to submit. I just need to control him into a spot where the pressure kind of comes up and he decides to submit. So that being said, we're now going to look at things that are going to be to the near side and also the far side. When we talk about some of these grips, some of them are going to be from the midline to the far shoulder, and some of them are going to be from the midline to the near shoulder. Again, we're aware of what's going to go on here. More often than not, one of the things I'm going to have our guys do, however they want to switch their hips to start as a good practice drill, is that my weight's driving down and in. My right arm is not fully worried about getting to a far underhook yet, because that way I can still control the hip line and I can be soft here, and that way this arm can start to get underneath for a crossface or whatever kind of grips that I want. I usually will go ahead and have our guys start by just letting, I want to just ride Johnny. Whatever Johnny's going to go ahead and do, I need to control that hip line at all costs. So Johnny goes to move, and I know he's going to have to frame. I want to be able to just try to move myself into good spots, okay? The first kind of things that we're going to look at, we're going to be looking at getting our thumb into the collar more towards the far side. So again, midline of his neck to this side. So I'm going to let him continue to move. I get my thumb in, because as he tries to move and frame, he lets me get that grip in. I make a good solid grip. This hand, why it's not deep right now, is remember, I want to really block that near hip. The reason why I'm blocking that near hip is that it's giving me some control if I want to upgrade this position. I'm getting some control between the shoulder and the neckline, and this hand is just kind of here to be able to block, frame, or just be generally annoying. Because if he goes to move against me, I can push away. He wants to push in again. I can go ahead and rip away, whatever. I want to get him doing other stuff other than defending his neck. So now I'll let him move, because remember, I want to just stay in control. As he continues to move, I'll start to move my hips into a better spot. Remember, I'm not going deep here. I've moved my knee up to kind of block so both legs are out right now, and this is going to be soft. Now, the nice thing about this is that he's trying to frame against me, but I continue to let him work. I get him so his arm starts to get away, because when it's getting away from the middle, more specifically getting away from the box, he's not defending his neck. So I'll let him push like the way he's doing right now. My hand now swims in just like we had an ice scraper and go palm up to set up for spin choke. When we go to do this, we want a nice solid baseball bat grip, okay? So both wrists are already rolling back in and my weight's sitting back onto his chest. My head is going to have to be back towards the hip line, okay? What I'm going to continue to do is I'll let him kind of move me closer and my legs around to spin around for the shoulders. So as he continues to move, I want to make sure that I don't let that near side hand get in. I swing around towards that hip line, and I keep bringing my head around towards the hips. I don't let my weight drop back. If I need to be on my toes, I drive forward, again, towards the hip line. I I don't want my weight coming back because it's going to take the pressure off. It's generally horrible. So now, he's going to defend. When he defends, spin choke, the defense is to put the hand to the inside to not let me go. Around. We're going to take that away. So, I got in, and I got to my spin choke, right? But now, as I go to set, he's not giving me this. I'm not going to bail out on everything I just had. I got 2 good grips. So now, I'm going to punch and hold him down. Because that way, if Johnny goes to try to move on me right now, I can now drop my chest into that arm to not give it back. From here, my right arm is going to swing all the way around the back and grab the inside of the collar. So that way, it's right next to the other hand. And now, if he goes to move, I can start to pull him back down. I can use the opposite lapel to wrap around his back as well and pull him down, but we'll just use this one for right now. This hand now is going to come out and right across, thumb in, palm down. The leg that's closest to his head, my left, is now going to go straight out. So that way it's dead weight, and look, it's already stretching his head and neck, and I rotate away. I just wait it out. If I need to rotate more, I rotate more. But again, the reason why you're seeing me kind of delay on some of these is I think we rush just to go too fast. The pressure's on, take your time. If it makes sense to rotate more, rotate more. Now, we were using that whole nice setup, and maybe I can't get into his collar on that far side. Because sometimes, and more often than not, people are going to be smart when it comes to not only defense, neutral game, anything else with this. They're not going to just rush. They're going to see what you do. Well, Johnny's going to be smart and not let me kind of move right now and do a whole lot because he wants to see how I'm going to kind of play. Here's what I know. If I can't get my thumb in this side of his collar because it's too tight, I know that on the near side I'm going to have slack. So, John, take a look, bring us down. I can't get here, right? But if you come around here, I'm just going to move my forearm. You're going to see I have slack there. I already know I have it. So, why I'm staying shallow here is now we're going to look at some stuff that's near side. So, John's not giving me anything here. He's waiting to see. His hand's going to slide back and go thumb in. I make a really good tight fist because, again, I'm going to end up spinning around him. When I go and spin around, like what we were just doing on that spin choke, right, is that this arm is going to end up dropping across his neck and more so towards that far shoulder, right? My right arm is going to be around to block that hip line as I need it. And there's many things that we can do as a step over choke and a set from there. I'm going to show you one that's a little bit easier to start. And if you have more flexibility, feel free to go ahead and do it. But especially, one of these things about giving up that control is one of those, where I want you to, at all costs, keep control. And if you don't have it, don't try to force it, okay? I still have this. This is going to be annoying. And again, I want to be ending up to spinning around. So I'm going to let John kind of move again. I'm going to let him move me to a better spot. So I keep starting to slide up. As I'm doing that, remember, I'm protecting that hip line, right? I keep letting him move. So he keeps moving. As that happens, my left leg's going to come straight down, right next to his head. There is a step over choke, but we're going to go right here to start. This hand, again, is just being here to be annoying, to block that hip line. It can go back to this side. It can be here to push and flatten him out. My left arm is going to go straight, like straight fist, and I'm already starting to punch, okay? I need my left arm to be strong. My left leg now, I want you to think like I'm doing a thigh master. I'm going to pinch my knee in towards my left fist. So I'm pinching in, and I start leaning down and in. When I'm down and in, you'll see that I'm on my toes, okay? I'm not flat back because I want to keep this pinched and allow him to decide how he wants to move. Because even if he bumps or bridges or anything, I can be able to adjust my position and still drive my hips forward. I let him continue to move, and I get the finish. Again, I can pinch hard and squeeze, but that's not realistic. More often than not, like, let's just do the move and technique. No, he's going to bump you a little bit. It's going to be a little bit different when you have to deal with these, rolling somebody live because you're giving up some real estate. By me staying on my toes in this position, right, it's allowing me to still address, not have my weight shift back, just like we did spin choke. Remember, when I spin around, I still need to be on that hip line, right? Well, it's the same thing when I'm doing the step over choke. It still needs to be there, okay? So, we have that set, and again, that's dropping my shoulder towards that near side. So I got here, I pinched in. This arm, again, is here to decide, do I need to push his hips down? Do I need to wedge back? As long as I'm maintaining control. Because again, as Jonny goes to move, this is what matters to me at all costs. Jonny goes to still try to move. Even, I know he may try to throw his arms up for like a reverse triangle, or legs up for a reverse triangle. That's why this is just down here to wedge. As long as this is here to wedge, it's allowing my head to get dropped in. It's allowing me to pinch and just take the time. It's dead weight on top. He can sit here and he can try to fight as hard as he wants, but eventually he loses.